What if this is what the whole season is like? Every day, nip and tuck, battling back and forth with the Padres. Because the Padres, they get their butts kicked by the Detroit Tigers. But then the next day, they hit 7 slams. And then, it's just nonstop. And then our new closer, who's supposed to be so great that they sent Camilo Doval to AAA, just becomes Brian Wilson II. And it's just torture baseball all the time. And then we have to bring in Camilo to save the day. What if that's what it's like for the rest of the season?
I don't know if I can handle it. I'm now 53 years old. I don't think the heart can take it, to be honest. I can't do another year of torture baseball. I was over a decade younger last time this happened.
This is brutal, man. This is brutal. And they play crisp and clean baseball. I think they played one of their crispest and cleanest baseball games, sandwiched right in between 2 of the worst games all season. Right? The Ryan Walker rubber duck incident on Sunday. And then, the Jordan Hicks / Lou Trevino dynamic duo on Tuesday. But they had that magically wonderful game where they played crisp, clean, pure baseball, let the Brewers make their mistakes and just give the game away. And it's like a roller coaster. It's just, I'm younger than you and I can't take it either. I can't take it either.
Bob, can you take it? Take it, Bob.
Save us, Bob.
The Giants are rolling. The vibes are flowing. It's time for Giant Cocktails. Here are your hosts, Ben and Matthew Henry.
Welcome to Giant Cocktails. Bob, the vibes are flowing, and because we've won 2 out of 3 games so far, and I emphasize so far because I am going on record saying that I hate 4-game series. I think we should just end it after 3. You either win them or you lose them. None of this potential tie BS. Because I'm ready to move on. How about you, Ben?
I don't like kissing my sister.
No.
Ties
we don't even have a sister. It sounds awful.
It does. It sounds like the worst. Ties are awful. I agree. The Giants won this. The Giants won this series.
That's it. We're going with that. Giants won the series. You heard it here first, folks.
That's right. The first 1 to 2 wins in a 4-game set wins the series. That's the way it should be.
I like it. Yeah. I like it. Okay. Well, Ben, today is episode 286. Did you know that Felipe Alou hit 286 in his 6 seasons as a San Francisco Giant from 1958 to 1963? That's probably not how most people listening to this podcast know Felipe Alou. In fact, probably most people listening to this podcast might not even know who Felipe Alou is. But he also had a 342 and 304 loss managerial record for the Giants from 2003 to 2006, winning 100 games in his debut 2003 season.
They were pretty good that year.
They were. And, Lou was also manager of the year in 1994 when his Expos were 34 games over 500, Ben, when the strike happened and there were no playoffs that year. Anything else you want to remember about 1994, Ben?
Matt Williams was on pace to break the then single-season home run record, and instead the baseball players went on strike. And people say that lockouts are worse. I don't know that I agree. You know what? And I hate both of them when they have a work stoppage. I hate them both, so I really don't care. I'm usually pro-labor, but now when you stop the season in the middle when my boy is going to break the home run record.
I agreed. And I saw an interview with Barry Bonds recently, and he said not only was Matt Williams on pace to break the record, he said that was the year that he had the best shot at going 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases. Like he would have been the first guy to do 50-50 if the year hadn't had the strike.
Barry would have?
Yeah, Barry said that he was on pace for it at that time.
Wow.
I'm not going to go look him up. I take him for his word.
Yeah, he's a. Maybe we should move on.
Enough with the banter. Let's talk cocktails.
Agreed, Bob. Agreed.
What are you drinking, Matthew?
Bob, I'm drinking a cocktail that I'm calling a Wounded Tiki. And yeah, it's tiki. There's a reason for why it's called that. We'll find out more about that at the end of the episode.
What are you drinking, Ben?
Oh, that's very. Thank you for asking, Bob. That's very kind of you. But Bob, I'm concerned. I want to make sure, Matthew. Please tell me that no tiki were harmed in the making of your cocktail.
No tikis were harmed. Tikis were formed.
Oh, all right. Okay, sweet. Well, I am drinking a cocktail that I am calling Nasty Brew.
Is that a coincidence that we're playing the Brewers?
No, Matthew, it is not a coincidence. But
Okay,
this is
all
another
right.
cocktail where I came up with the name before I came up with the recipe.
Those aren't always winners, dude.
No, they're not. They're not. Last week's was very good, but this one, no, this one was not a. Well, let me just say the name is pretty accurate. And you can
It's
find
a
out
Nasty
why it's
Brew.
accurate at the end of the show.
Fair enough. All right. Well, Ben, today is Wednesday, April 23rd, as we record this podcast. You and I had to record a little bit later tonight because the Giants on a typical Wednesday are playing earlier, and today they were not.
That is correct. There's
So-
another reason why we don't like 4-game series.
That's right. So we had to wait till the end, and we were going over what we're going to talk about, and it was great because we started talking right after the 6th inning, and they were up 4-0, and it looked like we were going to just cruise, and then Ryan Walker did something with rubber ducks.
You know, I thought the man would have stopped eating the rubber ducks, Matthew, but no, apparently he just went and had a second helping. There I was, showing you how to use the compressor in Audacity. And we look over at our secondary screens and we realize, wait, how did that guy get on base? And then we see the single that gets 2 guys on base. And then it was a whole lot of no good from there.
Until Doval came in and saved the day.
That's right. Camilo saved the day.
That's right. And that leaves the Giants at 16-9. I'm not complaining about that record. 2-1 since we last recorded. And what are we talking about today, Ben? Well, of course, we're going to talk about the Brewers series so far. And then we're going to get into a little bit of a discussion around, are the Giants fielding their best team? That's a question to be answered, isn't it?
I think they're fielding they're fielding no, Matthew, no, they're not. No.
All right, we'll hear Ben's reasoning in just a little bit. But first, Ben, WILMER is one of the best players the Giants have ever had. He's having the best season of his career, and he's the best player on the Giants. And where would the Giants be without him? We should all be honoring WILMER for the rest of this week.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know how you can say something like that when everybody else was declaring, like, we were blithely talking about how good WILMER was last Sunday on our episode, and everybody else was writing him off. They were talking about the slump. And all I have to tell you, Matthew, is what slump? What slump?
That's right. What slump? Well, what slump? There was no slump.
Then why do you keep saying he was in a slump?
I didn't say he was in a slump. You said he was in a slump.
Okay, look. Clearly okay, so here's what happened. Old men get tired and they have to take some time off. Because if they don't, sometimes they get confused and they think they're in a fight when they're not.
Oh, are you saying we're in agreement here?
Yeah, we both agree that WILMER's great, has always been great, and is still great. Like
On the old guy thing, though, maybe he could use another day or two off every now and then.
Maybe
that
he
probably wouldn't be the worst thing. But then if they did, then the Giants' offense would be nothing.
I mean, maybe so. But like, seriously, on Monday, people were like, "Oh, WILMER's cooled off, and WILMER's in a slump. WILMER's not doing very well." And you know what, Matthew? After 2 games, you look at his stats for the last 7 days, which includes his slump, and he's hitting .304 with a .385 on base percentage and a .435 slug, and a home run and 4 RBIs and 3 walks.
Cut him.
Yeah, cut him. Cut him. I just don't like him because he's old. That's my problem with him.
Well, of course he had the game. Well, another big hit today to drive in the first Giant runs, and man, where would the Giants be without Wilmer Flores? Apparently though, just another thing to throw out there. I was reading in ESPN. ESPN floated in their too early trade news. I'm calling it too early. I don't know if they called it that the Giants might be a good fit for Marcell Ozuna of the Braves, since the Braves have stumbled out of there and the Mets are running away with the division, that maybe the Braves would be interested in giving up Marcell Ozuna, who's in the last year of his contract. What do you think about that?
Hold on. Let me look up Marcell Ozuna just to make sure that I'm thinking of the same individual.
All right. Well, I will tell you that he has hit 79 home runs over the past 2 seasons, and he has over 1,000 OPS so far this year. So
that does sound pretty good, but I will also tell you this, Matthew. He is 34 years old in the last year of his contract, and he is an outfielder / designated hitter who hits from the right side of the plate. And I'm guessing that he doesn't really play outfield all that well. So what you're really talking about is a right-handed designated hitter, and we already have one of those. His name is Wilmer Flores. We don't need Jorge Soler Part 2.
No, screw Marcell Ozuna.
And we already have, we have a much younger version of this, currently rehabbing off of surgery. He's going to come back and he's going to save the day. Herrera's going to save the day. We don't need to trade anybody.
That's a good point. We do have somebody coming back that maybe people don't even realize.
So if we need another right-handed power bat.
All right. Well, okay. One last tidbit before we move on. The Giants have not lost a Robbie Ray start this year. Did you even think about that? Did that even cross your of course they've lost a game that he started this year, right? I mean, you've seen him pitch.
I've seen him pitch. That does not you know what? I'm not even going to look at the stats.
Yeah, he's 3-0.
I disagree.
Tied with Logan Webb for the most wins on the team. That means though is that Justin Verlander hates him.
I think Justin Verlander looks over at him and he's like, "Why that guy? Why not me?"
And rightly so. I agree, Justin. I agree.
I'm sure Justin is flabbergasted. I'm flabbergasted.
The baseball gods, man, they don't really ever make any sense.
No, and this is why the win is kind of like an aged stat, Matthew.
It is. It doesn't tell the whole story. But let's move on, because we got the Brewers series. And Ben, game one, Robbie Ray started.
So they won.
Did not get the win this time.
Oh.
Now is your opportunity.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, clear your throat. Get ready. Ben, who got the win on game one?
Hang on 1 second. Me. Not me. I didn't get the win. But you know who did get the win?
Who?
Hayden Birdsong. Pitching 3 strong, looking absolutely dominant. My boy just being like, oh, they want me to pitch now in this situation? Okay, I guess I'll bring my 97-mile-an-hour fastball that just dances all over the place and nobody can touch, even if I tell them it's coming. Yeah. The nice thing is at least he saves the bullpen. I'm not sure we need that right now, but he did look pretty good. And honestly, he deserves more wins. He deserves a win over somebody like Robbie Ray.
Well, and I'm glad that he went 3 innings, because I think that, the more outings he has that are longer is more advantageous when it's time for him to actually make a spot start. So I'm glad that he's gotten those. It's gotta happen, Ben. They can't just keep doing this.
You're jumping ahead. We're getting to that section later.
Oh, that's right. We're going to get to that later. Okay. All right. But Doval comes in for the 9th inning and gets a save. And what was interesting, it was right after Walker's blow up on Sunday. And so maybe there was some thoughts of, oh, have we changed closers? But no, alas, Walker had pitched a couple days in a row, I guess, and they wanted to give him a day off. So Doval was the guy, and he did splendidly.
Yeah. Well,
you must have been in Giants heaven on Monday night.
I was feeling pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. Like my two favorite pitchers both, factored in both of the two important decisions. And, I was a little, because like last week we joked about who is the backup closer or who would be the closer when Ryan Walker loses his closer job, which was supposed to be a joke, Ryan. It was supposed to be a joke, dude. It's a joke, right?
Yes, you said Randy Rodriguez.
Yeah, I said Randy Rodriguez.
As part of the joke.
As part of the joke. But when Camilo was getting up for the game on Monday, I didn't think about it at all because I was like, well, yeah, Ryan Walker, normally you like to have your closer come right back out, right? When your closer has a bad outing, you generally like to get him back out there the next opportunity. But yeah, he had pitched 2 games in a row, and maybe that factored a little bit into his outing. After watching today, I don't think so. I think he's just got some sort of mechanical issue. But that was... it wasn't surprising to see Camilo get up in that situation. And at that point in time, I did not believe that it meant anything other than, thank goodness that they have trust in Camilo again. And he's earned it and he deserves it. And he got the job done. So, yeah, I was pretty psyched. Monday was pretty great, Matthew. It was pretty great because my favorite players all did their things. And also the Giants played really, really well. I was feeling pretty good about game 1 of the Brewers series, Matthew.
Well, I was too, because my favorite player did his thing. WILMER got the game go-ahead home run in the 6th inning there, and the Giants cruised after that. And so I just, it was a good day. It was a good day. We were cacawing and Wilmering, and we were getting all excited about that. It was a good day, Ben.
It was a good day, and it set us up for the rest of a series. The winning Giants get back on track. We got
well. Then you think well, Hicks couldn't be as bad as he was in his previous start for this time around, right?
Well, and he righted the ship.
He did.
Whatever the problem was, he fixed it in inning 2 in Philadelphia. So, no problem. Let's cruise on there. Let's shut up all those naysayers, Jordan. You're not going to lose your job. Justin Verlander's going to lose his job.
Yeah, he had a couple rocky innings. I question a little bit about Bob Melvin's decision to send him back out there on the 6th. He was already getting up in pitch count. Why do you want to just, and I get it. You're in this long stretch of games. You still got some games without any rest. You don't necessarily want to go to your bullpen if you don't have to. But he's playing, you play with fire, man. You're going to get burned.
I know why he doesn't want to.
Because he would have had to go to Lou Trevino earlier?
Yeah. And he doesn't want his caddy to lose his job. Or whatever it is that Lou Trevino does for Bob Melvin. I don't know. But he didn't want to go to it. And then honestly, he got 2 guys on with nobody out. Right? He was again at 94 pitches. And they had him pitch to another guy. And I was just like, what is happening here? What is going on? What do you think Jordan Hicks is going to accomplish in this one at-bat? And I know now what you were hoping was he would get that guy out, and then Lou Trevino would have one less guy that he could let score. I understand now. I understand. But as we're going to talk about later on in the show, I have other solutions to that particular problem. But no, Matthew, it was not good. I mean, he didn't look great, but honestly, he kept him close. It was 3-0. It was kind of fine, and
yeah. Then the Giants scored a run in the bottom half. It was 3-1. You felt like they were still in striking distance. The Giants had come back plenty of times this year with a 2-run deficit, so I wasn't feeling totally stressed about it. I thought the Giants were in a good position. Then the 6th inning rolled around, and it just never stopped. And Trevino comes in, and he must have naked pictures of Bob Melvin. That's all I can think of at this point.
I don't know what this guy has over Bob Melvin and Buster Posey, but it's something big. It's something
because you got a
big.
guy in AAA that's looking pretty good who has major league experience.
We cannot talk about that, Matthew. That is the second segment of the show.
All right. But
yeah, we do.
And I'm just going to throw this out here. Nobody in the current front office made Hicks a promise to have him be a starter.
I agree. And Jordan Hicks,
I have some experience coming into a new organization as the head of the organization. Okay, I don't go in there going, "Oh, the previous CEO said you could have a job, so I'm going to honor that."
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. And I think this is one of those times where Buster Posey, as the former player, is working against him. But we'll talk about that more later.
Again. Yeah. I mean, I know a good guy that I would have liked to bring into the sixth inning in that situation. You know who I'd like to bring in that situation? And again, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Jordan Hicks. I would have liked to bring Jordan Hicks into that inning. But
as a fireballing reliever?
Yes. But anyway, last week, Matthew, we talked about, when we were talking about, sorry, not last week, on Sunday, when we had our last show, we talked about the Brewers series coming up. And we said, it would be a sure sign that this is a magical season.
Oh, that's right. We did say that. If Willy Adames just, takes off.
That's right.
Against his
former team.
Yeah.
And through the first two games, Matthew, I think the answer was this is not a magical season.
No. He struggled on both sides, on the field and at the plate. And little redemption in game 3. Little redemption. I feel like maybe tomorrow he'll cap us off with a 3, getting us to that third win.
Yeah.
And then it'll be a magical fairy tale. We will revisit this on Sunday, folks.
Yeah, but you know what I'm thinking, Matthew? I'm thinking that WILMER is in that situation now where it's like he's broken up with his high school sweetheart, which is a stupid thing. You should never do that. You should marry that woman. But I feel like that's like, he broke up with his first love and now he's off with this new, far superior, better for him, just better in general. But, he still kind of feels guilty. He's still unsure. He's uncomfortable about it. And all I have to do is point to one Wilmer Flores. There was a guy who had a really great relationship with his first. But you know what? Look where he is now.
That's right.
And look what he's accomplished with his new beau, right? New boo.
That's right. As the kids say nowadays.
As the millennials say.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll see. I agree. I think, maybe he just needs to relax a little bit around his ex and, show him what.
Well, and he broke out a little bit today.
He did. In fact, pitcher's duel to start off this game. It was a very well pitched game. It was fun seeing, was it Peralta and Webb go against each other, and both of them were just it was nice. It was refreshing for once to see strikes being thrown. I will say, I really did appreciate that. One of the things that stuck out. So Adames started the 6th inning rally that got them, 4 runs with a single.
Yeah.
He came around to score. And then the dugout, a little bit later, there was a shot from the dugout of Adames. And just randomly, he belly bumps the trainer next to him. Like he just like they're standing there. And then all of a sudden he holds up his arms and then the trainer knew what to do. And they just belly bumped. Like this is not the first time they've done this. And just those kind of things just crack me up. I just, Adames could be like 0 for his next 20. And if I'm getting video of him belly bumping trainers in the dugout, I'm happy.
Okay, to be clear, a belly bump is when you lift up.
It wasn't a chest bump. It was like bellies to belly. It was a belly bump.
Right. So you put your arms back and you thrust your midsection forward such that your belly protrudes.
Exactly.
And then another person is also doing the same, and then your bellies come into contact a la a high five. But this would be a high 1.
A high belly.
Or a mid one. A mid one.
One.
Yeah.
It was.
With the trainer.
And Yeah, and what goes through my mind is that Willie has worked something out with everybody in the dugout. Like, he's got his thing with everyone. And I don't know if you noticed this, but they keep showing at the beginning of games the dugout before they go out on the field, and they're all walking through the dugout now, and like led by Willie, where they're just like giving each other all their individual like handshakes and famous like punches to the gut, and they're doing little things, and Jung Hoo Lee's doing his thing, and they're all just doing that as they go through the dugout. I don't remember seeing that ever. That's got to be a Willie Adames
thing.
kind of thing.
That is not a Giants thing. You notice the Giants still don't have a thing that they wear after they hit their home run. Every other team in baseball has a thing that they wear. The Giants don't do that.
No.
Yeah. No. I mean, because I think a Madison Bumgarner would roll over in his grave if they started putting something on when they ran down there after hitting a home run. Because Madison never would have put something on after he hit a home run.
No.
Yeah. So I think it's the ghost of Madison Bumgarner that has kind of slowed that down. But this doesn't surprise me that Willie's got this going. I do want to say this though, that I don't think I'd want to be the guy that does the belly bump. Although I will also say this, Willie Adames would not want a belly bump with me.
He'd lose that. He'd lose that bump.
You would lose, sir.
All right, I got one question before we move on.
Okay.
Do we have a closer controversy?
God. What is this, game 25? This is game 25.
Well, I just remember at the beginning, what are your preseason predictions? Is we'd have two closers with, what did you say, 40
plus
saves each?
Matthew, they're on pace.
And you're not far off with that prediction at this point.
Walker has 5, Doval has 4. They're both on pace to have 29.
So maybe no controversy. Maybe they just go back and forth for the rest of the year.
It's dual closers. I mean, kind of honestly, that's kind of how it is anyway, right? It's like Ryan Walker is your 1A, and then Doval is your 1B because Walker can't go every day. And as I said, this team is probably going to be in a lot of close games. You're going to need a lot of saves. So really, I mean, quite honestly, like, we want Doval to be good enough to take the closer job, but we don't want him to, because we can't afford to have Walker be bad enough to lose it. So I hope there's no controversy.
I'm hoping Walker works out his little mechanical issues and is back to his old self.
I'm sure it will be. I think this is clearly he's just screwed up somehow in his release or whatever it is, and they'll figure it out.
Will they figure out, Ben, 3 other starters in the rotation? Will they figure out their problems? Because I think it's time to move on. Are the Giants fielding their best team? And let's start with the number 1 rotation problem, Hayden Birdsong.
Yeah.
And then against at least 3 other guys in the rotation.
Right. So the question is, are the Giants fielding their best team? And as I let the cat out of the bag earlier in the show, no, I don't think they are. And yeah, this is problem number 1. Hayden Birdsong has been nothing but dominant in almost, all except for one pitch. Honestly. One pitch in every outing that he has had. And he gets 2 innings there. He gets 3 innings there. And quite honestly, he's coming out in situations where you're just sort of like, Lou Trevino couldn't take this slot? Right? I mean, it's like... They're using him in places where you don't need a guy with his stuff and with his composure. Like, honestly, Matthew, I'd like to have there be a closer controversy with Hayden Birdsong, because at least then you'd be using the guy in high leverage situations where his stuff would make a difference. This guy clearly deserves to be a starting pitcher, I think, on 30 Major League Baseball teams. And he's on one, and that one team is not giving it to him because, I don't know, because of morals, because of ethics, because of the old way, because of stubbornness.
Well, and this is what Giants fans wanted. They wanted someone that wasn't cutting edge anymore. They want to go back to old school baseball. And this is what we're getting. And for better or for worse, this is what we have. And, I don't know if I would have the cojones to tell someone like Justin Verlander that he wasn't going to start anymore. But something needs to be done, because what we do know is that this is not the best starting five for the Giants. And whoever makes those decisions, that's their responsibility to the rest of the team, is to put the best players in the right position. And right now, we're not getting that. So that's a problem.
It is a problem. And this really isn't about who he replaces. This is about the fact that this kid isn't starting.
Right. But, and he's going to have to replace somebody. And maybe it's Hicks, who can't seem to get out of 5 innings without giving up 6 runs, So, maybe that's their easy decision, is they demote Hicks. Because as I said earlier, this is not the administration that promised Hicks to be a starting pitcher.
No. Here's how it goes. Imagine I'm standing in front of one of these guys, Justin Verlander, future Hall of Famer, Jordan Hicks, promised his job, Robbie Ray, former Cy Young Award winner. I'm standing in front of one of these guys and I'm saying, dear, insert name here. We really appreciate everything that you have done. Everything that you've done for the team. But Birdsong needs to get a start, so you're benched. That's how I would deliver it.
Okay. All right. So that's Ben being GM. That's Ben being the hobo. I respect that. Another thing that we need to talk about, though, is Lou Trevino. We've seen enough from this guy. He's had 1 or 2 good outings sandwiched around 2 really bad ones. And meanwhile, you were kind enough to give me the minor league stats for one Sean Hjelle and Carson Wisenhunt.
Yeah, I did a little research.
And both of those guys have whips under 1 in AAA, which is in Sacramento is the Pacific Coast League is a hitter-friendly league. And these guys are dominating. And yet we've got some guy up here that can't get key outs when we need them. And Sean Jelly's down there dominating. Yeah. And so I what do you do about that, Mr. Hobo?
Sean Hjelle is a man among boys down there. And, I give Lou Trevino a good old pat on the back. And I say, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Because
that one seems like an easy one to me. This is not like we're going to upset a future Hall of Famer. This is the
budding problem with this leadership, Matthew. Lou Trevino was signed out as a favor, as a flyer. And now it's like they can't say no to this guy. And, Lou Trevino, you know what he's a big fan of, Matthew? The long ball. and he loves it so much that he gives it up so much. Like, this is a problem. Like, they have a superior guy who was always the superior choice sitting down in AAA because this guy's a veteran, because he knew Bob Melvin once, because they're waiting for his year after Tommy John surgery bump to come back. That takes a year, guys. Like, I don't know what we're doing here with Lou Trevino. Like, if you had nobody else to replace him, fine. But you have a major league quality reliever who had a good season last year, dominating down in AAA, and Lou Trevino has his job. Why? Because you're nice guys? Like, I like nice guys. But I mean, you can't...
You know what they say about nice guys and where they finish, Ben.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes they call them pushovers. Purple pushovers.
That's right. The other pitcher that I want to bring up, and I mentioned him briefly, is Carson Wisenhunt. Guys, he was added to the 40-man this year. He has been dominating as well down in AAA. I could envision a scenario where, let's say, Hicks gets demoted to the bullpen and Birdsong now becomes a starter, and then one of our ancient starters gets hurt, and Carson Wisenhunt is the one that gets brought up to make spot starts. I could see a rotation of Webb, Wisenhunt, Roop, and Birdsong, and maybe Ray or Verlander by the end of the year. And so I wouldn't be mad about that rotation. I think that would be really exciting.
Well, I wonder how bad a rotation of Webb, Wisenhunt, Birdsong, Harrison, and Ray would be.
Or Roop.
Roop would be. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, would that be really bad?
No, I would be excited about that rotation.
Well, yeah,
they might struggle a little bit.
And
they might be, but not any more than what we're getting already.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, the kids are doing everything that they can, and it's like the adults aren't listening. You know, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Carson Wisenhunt's banging on the door, but dude, Hayden Birdsong can't even get into the rotation. What chance do you have? You got to know that Kyle Harrison is ahead of you anyway. If this is how they're doing things, Carson Wisenhunt isn't going to sniff a start. Like, this is not happening.
You're breaking my heart. I mean, I would never wish injury on anyone, but that's what it's going to take.
It is. I absolutely agree with you. It is going to take an injury to one of these guys, a real one, for Birdsong to get into the rotation, and then another injury for Kyle to get called back up, or for Wisenhunt. I think Kyle gets called up first, and then another injury for Carson Wisenhunt to end up making it to the roster. Like, it's going to take 3 injuries to get all 3 of these guys in the rotation, and one would argue that this is the year to get them in there. Like, this is the year.
They've gotten off to a great start. Now they got these guys that could come in and reinforce, and I feel like that's.
Well, I worry that the great start makes them afraid to make tough choices.
All right, one last thing, just a little, so Bryce Eldridge started his season this week in AA in Richmond. He's a flying squirrel. I don't know what sounds flying squirrels make. I figured nothing. Like, they go whew, and they're just
Matthew,
they're flying.
You don't hear them or see them.
No, they're like
and then you're dead.
Ninjas. Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Well, Eldridge, in his very first flying squirrel at bat this season, went yard it was a monster shot too. I mean, it was.
Yeah, the bullpens are like back to back there, and he hit it into the second bullpen over what is the tallest chain link fence in the world.
Bob Melvin was being interviewed when that happened, and one of the reporters showed him a video of it, and Bob Melvin joked, "Well, all right, let's get him up here now." I don't know how much he was joking, though.
I mean, you know who else I think is also trying to do his best to get Bryce Eldridge called up? Lamont Wade Jr.
Yeah, well, poor Lamont, man. I don't know what his expecting batting average is, but I think it's like 500.
Yeah, well, I have good news, Matthew, for you, because here's a good sign that the Giants are going to fast track Bryce Eldridge. He didn't play today.
So he gets he hits a monster home run in his debut, and they're like, "That's enough, son. Let's take a rest."
Well, they don't want him to hurt his wrist. You got the day off. Maybe
they don't want to fast track him to the major leagues. He's got plenty of time.
Yeah, they was facing a tough lefty, and you wouldn't want a guy in AA to face tough lefties.
No, because that couldn't help your development at all. I don't know. Whatever the reason was, he didn't play. He didn't play. So don't expect to see Bryce. Lamont Wade Jr.'s job is safe, Ben.
I think you won't see Bryce until 2027 at this rate, man. Like this is his first game of the season, and they were like, "Oh, that's enough. Needs a day off." So that feels like 2027 pace to me. Yes.
Just a couple other tidbits before we wrap up. One is that there's been a lot of talk, I think, about Bailey hitting under 200, and then Huff not hitting as well. So there's been a lot of focus on catchers hitting. Newsflash, folks, catchers aren't expected to hit. And I know that we're spoiled because we had one of the greatest hitting catchers of all time for like 10 plus years on our team. And he now is the president of baseball operations. But catchers aren't expected to hit. They're expected to catch. And if they hit a little bit, that is a bonus. And right now, that's about all we can expect from our catchers. Don't get your panties in a wad about catchers not hitting. It's not that big a deal, folks.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you just put that energy into Hayden Birdsong getting a start, like if we could all just focus our energy. Also, like, I mean, maybe you're not a Sean Hjelle fan, but we could focus that there too, right? Like, let's not worry about Sam Huff. Okay, let's just focus on Hayden. We'll work on Sean Hjelle, and then maybe by the end of the year.
Sam Huff is batting .500 over his last 3 games, Ben. So there's that.
Yeah, and he finally hit the home run that he was supposed to hit more often.
Yeah, he was going to be a hero until he wasn't.
Well, if you could hit 2 home runs a month, man, could you just do that, Sam? Like right now, you're on 1. Let's hit 2 home runs a month.
All right. Well, on that note, I guess we should move ahead to upcoming opponents. First of all, we have to finish off this Brewers 4-game series. Whoever decided that was a good idea. And but then we got Bruce Bochy and the Texas Rangers coming to town. And they're playing pretty well, Ben. They lead the American League West with a 14-9 record. Bochy's got them playing well. One person who's not playing well, though. Did you know that Jock Peterson is 0 for his last 39?
So you're saying
he has 2 hits in the entire month of April.
So you're saying he's available?
I'm saying someone should slap him.
Oh,
and maybe that'll help him get some hits.
Maybe I don't. No, I don't.
Where's
care.
Tommy Pham when they need him? Maybe he could go to the Mets. Do they play the Mets anytime soon? Or I'm sorry, the Pirates anytime soon?
I mean, eventually, but
after they're playing us, so that's good. That's good. Maybe Jock will continue his 0-4 for the rest of this month.
I hope so. I hope he plays a lot against the Giants and continues this.
I wonder how many boos he's going to get from the fans when he comes up to bat.
Well, no, it's a weekend series, so a lot.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Fans, don't let me down. Don't let me down.
Isn't it time for the booze, boys?
Yes, it is time for the booze.
What are you drinking, Matthew?
Bob, as I mentioned earlier, I am drinking something called a Wounded Tiki. The reason I'm calling that, Bob, is because I had a lot of what we call wounded soldiers, right? They're bottles of booze that have maybe an ounce or 2 left in them. And I got tired of looking at all them, so I decided that I was going to look and see what I could do with my wounded soldiers, and I came up with a tiki-type drink. What is in a Wounded Tiki? Well, it's got 1 ounce of aged rum. I am using Zayamaca from... Is it Planere? I don't know. But Zayamaca rum. And then I am using a 1/2 ounce of Reposado Tequila, which I killed today with that Wounded Soldier. And a 1/4 ounce of Allspice Dram. A 1/2 ounce of Cointreau. 3/4 ounces of lime juice. And a 1/2 ounce of Orgeat. And you're going to put all those into a shaker with ice. Give it a good shake. And then you're going to strain it into a tiki or Collin's glass with crushed ice. Now, I will say I did not have crushed ice available to me today, so I just did a dirty dump. I just dumped all the ice that I shook with it into the glass with it, and it was fine. I enjoyed it. So, you don't have to get fancy unless you're serving somebody else. You'll just drink it. You're going to garnish it with a big old sprig of mint and maybe a lime wheel. And you get this, you want a big old sprig of mint though. When you drink it, you can just breathe in the mint. That's really nice. So that's what I'm drinking, Bob. A Wounded Tiki.
That's a tasty cocktail.
Actually, it really is. And it was strong. I'm good with it. I'm really good with it.
What are you drinking, Ben?
Well, thank you for asking, Bob. That's very kind of you. Bob, today I am drinking a cocktail I am calling a Nasty Brew. And I called it that because the Giants are playing the Brewers. But I should have called it that because it's not very good. Okay, but it's okay. It's okay because I think I know how to fix this one. Because I actually do like the combination of the 2 primary ingredients in this cocktail. But there's 2 ways to fix it. Okay, but first let me tell you what was in it and how I made it. It has 1 ounce of Blanco tequila and 1 ounce of Benedictine. You combine those into a highball glass with no ice. You stir them until they're well combined. Then you add ice and you top that off with 3 to 4 ounces of ginger beer or club soda. Except you don't actually use ginger beer because that combined with an ounce of Benedictine is going to be way too sweet.
That cocktail sucked.
Damn, Bob, come on, dude. I'm not done. Just, God. You know, I own this podcast. Like, I don't even know why I have to put up with... Okay, whatever. Okay, so what you do is you're either going to dial back on your Benedictine and replace how much ever of that you remove with your Blanco tequila, because Benedictine, even though it's very sweet, has a proof of 80. So it's very potent, okay? So you can just remove however much you want of the Benedictine to make up for the sweetness if you're going to use ginger beer. Or you just use club soda and don't use the ginger beer, and then this will be quite tasty and quite refreshing. And that's what I'm drinking, Bob. The Nasty Bob. I'm sorry, the Nasty Brew.
That's a tasty cocktail.
Oh, shut up.
Oh, Bob. What are we going to do with you?
Indeed, Bob. And that's a wrap. Thank you for joining us. We will be back on Monday after the Giants destroy Bruce Bochy and Jock Peterson. But if you can't wait that long to get your fix, feel free to reach out to us on social medias, where we will eventually reply to you 3 weeks later. You can find us on all of the social media platforms that most people use, including Instagram and Threads, where we go by the username Giant Cocktails. Don't forget, though, you can also find us on YouTube, so run over there to like, subscribe, and comment. But most importantly, be sure to leave us a positive review, like 5 stars positive, because otherwise it's not positive, at your podcasting platform of choice, aka Apple Podcasts, or Bobify.
Oh, Bobify.
Indeed. Matthew, it was great talking San Francisco Giants with you. You were very adequate today. Until next time, cheers, my friend.
Cheers, Ben. Bye, everybody.
I'm bringing that back. I forgot about it. I totally forgot about it.
I was hoping you had forgot about it. It's never like a complimentary thing. It's always like,
well,
just
no,
meh.
what it is but it lets me get the superlative back in. The superlative back in. Oh, you're fine, Matthew. You were very cherubic today. Is that what you want?
Cherubic. Oh, I like it. I'm a little angelic. Okay.
Anyway, goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the Giant Cocktails Podcast. Until next time, bottoms up.
All right, we did it.
We did it. Do we need anything? I don't know.
Do we need anything?
Do we need anything?
Should we shout out to our longtime listeners?
Who listens to the show and just be like, I love listening to the end of the show because they're so funny.
Yeah. By the time they get here, they just forget to turn it
they're
off.
asleep.
That's what they're listening to.
They're asleep is what it is. Because here's the thing. We're funny the whole time.
Right. Well, 2/3 of the people turn it off before they get to this part. So there's that.
That is true. The ones who get to this point are the special 1/3.
That's right. You guys who are listening to us right now are special.
That's right.
How about
You're
that?
special. Or wake up. Podcast over.